what we typically do is quarterly, we will update our case studies on things that we want to sell or like objections we have.
Hey everybody, today I am so thrilled to be joined by Milu Peters. If you don't know Milu, she's the content creator and founder of a multi-six-figure social media agency. She went from being ghosted by every agency she applied to now having a team of her own. Her agency, Simply Multimedia, provides and executes innovative marketing strategies while she coaches the competition, sharing best social media practices with her 60,000 Instagram followers. Milu, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me and that incredible intro.
Oh, well, I'm in awe over here. I think I'm struggling to get to like 2,000 Instagram followers. So I feel like I'm not worthy.
Stop.
So everybody's going to want to know, because this is a brilliant story / intro that we had. You were looking for a job and you just said, you know what? It's not working. I'm just going to start my own agency. Like, tell us how that all went down.
Yeah, so I originally came to the United States from the Netherlands as a student athlete. So I played Division One tennis, college tennis. And so as an athlete, you don't have a lot of time to even get experience, right? So it was kind of like in my senior year studying media and advertising, I was like, okay, what's next? Like, I need some type of experience to land a job and what's next, you know? And so I was being ghosted by every single agency that I applied to. I mean, we kind of know this story, right? You study for a long time and then, you know, people want experience, right? Which I didn't have at the time. And I kind of saw it as an opportunity to start working for myself. That was always the idea in the long run, but I felt like I needed to kind of get the gist of it and see how agencies run, right? And so I taught tennis for a while, driving Uber Eats, Instacart, you know, the freelancer drill, to making this work, making the dream work.
I love that story so much. And I love that you just were like, listen, I'm going to make this happen. I don't care what I have to do. I'm the same way. Like, I will go sweep floors and clean toilets,
Right,
but I'm
right.
getting to where I need to go.
Yes, exactly the mindset.
So tell us about the clients that you're serving now. Because as we said in the you're coaching the competition. So I kind of want to hear about that.
Yeah, so we have evolved a lot on the types of clients we work with. Currently, it's really 6 and 7 figure creators and brands. And so it's a combination of personal brands. We also have some corporate B2B brands. It's a mix of established brands, I would say. Coaching the competition, I share a lot of knowledge and trainings on YouTube for social media managers. I have never been one to gatekeep. I feel like there's enough for everyone out there, you know? And I feel like that's how I build my community in the first place on Instagram, to where I teach the competition basically, right? Because they would quote unquote be competition, right? But yeah, I think everyone can share each other's knowledge at the end of the day.
I couldn't agree more. And I love the abundance mentality, right? There's enough of the pie for each of us to have a
Right.
piece. So
Yeah.
we don't need to squabble over one piece of pie.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about diversifying and expanding your agency's offerings. So what initially motivated you to expand your offerings? And was there a particular trend or market demand that influenced your decision?
Yeah, so there are actually quite a few things that influenced my decision, and this is why I love this topic so much as well. So there was a time where I completely zoned in on Instagram, right? That's how I built my community. I wanted to be an expert specifically on Instagram. And so there was a point in time where my business was really serving Instagram clients, Instagram management, Instagram strategy. And as soon as I built really my community there, and like I was doing that for a long time, I kind of wanted to expand, right? We did have clients on other platforms, but I didn't put myself out there like that. So I said, hey, you know, my personal brand needs to diversify, get into LinkedIn, which I was afraid of, but that's another story. YouTube, you know, like other platforms outside of Instagram so I can grow. And along with that, we started offering those services for our clients.
That's really cool. And I have to ask, because you said you were scared of LinkedIn. Are you still scared of LinkedIn or are you happy?
It depends on the day, I will say. Like, I feel like it's either people come from LinkedIn into Instagram, scared of Instagram, and vice versa. It's a completely different world, right? And again, going back to my backstory, I've never had a 9 to 5. I've never been in corporate America. So there's always that imposter syndrome, right? Of like, hey, like I'm just, this Instagram person going into LinkedIn now.
I feel you because I'm the opposite. I'm like, LinkedIn, cool, great,
Right.
whatever. Instagram, I'm like, oh, I hate my face.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I know people always have those types of thoughts. Yeah.
all right, so let's talk about the risks that come with diversifying. Sometimes we decide, oh, we're going to jump into TikTok, let's just say, right? We decide to
Right.
diversify with TikTok and it doesn't maybe go so well. How do you assess the risks or manage the risks and make sure that they align with your growth strategy?
Yeah, I love that question. So I think it's very important to test first of all, right? So a method that we live by with my agency that very much the lead generation runs off my personal brand is that I'm always testing for myself first. So I build my Instagram community and that's why I position my services that way, right? And staying within your strengths, right? Like for example, we don't offer ads and stuff like that. I tell people I don't know anything about ads. Maybe in the future we bring people on, but like we're organic only. So if there's certain platforms I don't enjoy, I don't spend a lot of time on, typically we don't offer those services because we don't know exactly what's happening when, because you do need to be involved in the platform itself, I believe. And so it would be a risk, I feel, if you offered something that you don't have a proven concept yet, right? We like to build case studies of my personal brand and then say, hey, we do have case studies. It doesn't need to be on a client, but at least on yourself experimenting.
That's a good piece of advice. I feel like that also leads me to the question of, because I struggle with this too, and I know a lot of people who we've talked to on the show struggle with this. You talked about your personal brand being like the lead gen, and that's kind of what I'm struggling with now. I feel like my personal brand is solid, but how do you transfer that to your brand, to your business brand? Is there a separate identity for both of those, or do you try to like make them coexist together?
I think it really depends on the CEO, right, and the business on how you want to lead that. If at some point you do want your identity to be separate from the business, I totally get that. And while we do have separate pages, they aren't as active. I still feel like the personal brand is so powerful at the end of the day, right? I think it just brings in a lot of leads because people are personally invested and connected to you, even if there's a separate page. So I think it really depends on what you're going for, but I would never neglect a personal brand, even if you have, the business side of it.
Right. And so, how do you try to incorporate I want to understand the lead gen that you talked about because it's so interesting. So, the lead gen comes in through you. And then how do you transfer it over to the company? Does that mean you're the first person they communicate with, like on the sales calls, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so currently I take all the sales call. People also work with me directly as I'm the strategist in the agency. So we're boutique, so it's not that hey you see my face or I lead gen and we're handing it over. It's very much that you will see me around, you will be in contact with me, because like you said, that it does drive with a personal brand, right? People do expect at that point to work with you, I would say. But yeah, that can evolve over time. Yeah, in your positioning, let's say you don't want to be involved like that anymore, and to kind of separate those two.
I just had a call this week with Isadora, and she was surprised to get on the phone with me. Hey, Isadora, if you're listening. And she was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm having this call with you. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I have all of these calls. So that was my first and only indicator. I just want to say it out loud for everybody watching and listening. That was my first indicator that my work on the two brands being separate, my personal brand and B Squared Media, actually is starting to work because she was surprised to be on the phone with me.
That's
But
cool.
other than that, I feel like I'm like you. Everybody expects to talk to me or work with me because you're kind of the face of the brand. The brand is you. You are the brand.
Exactly.
So that's always a big debate that we have on the show, which is what do you invest more into? Personal, business, or do you try to combine and have them live as companions? I don't know. What's your
Right.
one word answer on that, or one sentence answer, I guess?
I think personal brand first, but both at the end of the day, because that gives you options, right? If you do
Yeah.
want to step away, then you do have the business brand. But I don't think there's a right or wrong here. Yeah,
Yeah. I think it's like a gut thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Can you walk us through the process that you go through when you're going to integrate a new service? So you started with Instagram, and then when you were going to move into LinkedIn, how did you incorporate that into your existing offerings? And how did you make it a smooth transition and alignment with everything you were doing previously?
Yeah, so honestly, our biggest evolvement and switch was when I decided to rebrand. I made it a full rebrand into, we offer pretty much all platforms. And it wasn't like we weren't doing some of those, like LinkedIn, already behind the scenes. It was just like we weren't known for that or positioned like, hey, we can support there too. And so a rebrand was in order at the time. And so I rebranded into simply multimedia. So to showcase, hey, it's not just Instagram, we do all types of media,
Mm.
whether it's, long form content or just social media organic. And that really helped position with the rebrand saying, hey, we can support you with a lot more than just this. So that was ideal at the time. And then, obviously letting clients know, if you need assistance there, this is what we're going to start offering now. You can even potentially give current clients a preferred rate, right? Because they're already a client. And new clients, they would come in at the new rate, but you can make it very organic so it doesn't feel off with your current offering.
Let's dig into what you said a little bit, because I feel like you kind of outlined, I could see it happening, like the steps, the process
Yeah.
in my mind. So let's dig deeper. I'm one of your clients. Brooke is one of your clients, and you're going to start adding LinkedIn services. Did you send an email to all of your all of your clients, or just to certain ones? Like, walk me through what it looked like with Brooke being the client.
Yeah, so we let our clients know, all of our Brooks, that hey, we're rebranding. This is what our service offering looks like now. If you have any questions, right, let us know. Then we officially went live on the rebrand online, to where handles got changed. I actually turned myself then into my name for the personal brand. It used to be the business name. Yeah,
Oh.
even though I showed up to kind of separated almost, because my personal brand is going to be there on my name long term, and promoting it as such, starting to promote the new services. Hey, if you need support here, this is what we do. Talking more about other services, and giving a big push there, so that people start to associate you with other platforms other than just Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah. And because I have to know, I'm just nosy and curious. You said most of your lead gen comes through you, and you have 60,000 Instagram followers. So do most of your leads come from Instagram? And how did you grow from 0 to 60? Was there like something that really changed that helped you like jump in follower growth?
Mostly generation, I would say Instagram, outside of word of mouth, right, from happy clients and such. Growth wise, I would say it was very sustainable growth, just hard work showing up since day dot, right? And that's something I preach to the competition. Like, you are your biggest client. Practice what you preach, show up. And that's what I've been doing since day one. Really telling myself, like, hey, I'm going to be here for the long run. Clients come and go, but at the end of the day, I need to show up, to make sure we're always bringing in new business or new opportunities and whatnot.
Really smart. Training and development. You have a team. I'm assuming you can't do it all if you do long form content and the strategy and you do the organic. So, how do you train and develop your team? And how does that work also when you are expanding or diversifying your services?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think in our team specifically, we really like to stay in our lane. What are our strengths? What are certain people's strengths that we bring in, or what are they capable of? I had one of my social media marketing managers. She had a background in PR, for example, and did a lot of PR work with clients outside of working with the agency back then, to where we said, hey, she was doing PR work for me as well. We're like, we're going to take this out to the client. This is working well. We have case studies, so they kind of evolve in their role to take on more of the PR side of things while we bring in someone new on social media, for example. Or we have someone that already has the video skills, right? That can do YouTube strategy and video editing. So you very organically move into that space that everyone stays in their strengths at the end of the day. And we're not just doing, becoming a master of none. Yeah.
So does that mean when you went into launching LinkedIn services, did you already have somebody on your team who was knowledgeable on LinkedIn, or were you looking, do you go out and start to look for somebody who's good at TikTok or LinkedIn or wherever you're deciding to go next?
Yeah, so we already had people that were working on LinkedIn, and we already expanded on LinkedIn. So like we had clients on LinkedIn already that we could test and experiment with, right? And then ourselves, like my brand, to then feel confident in saying, okay, this is what we can offer. Because I do like to be very transparent. If someone comes to me, let's say for TikTok, we don't have anyone on TikTok. I'm not a huge fan of TikTok. I'll be transparent with them, like I might not be the best TikTok person, but I'm open to working with you on it, experimenting, finding out what works, at the time. So I think transparency is key with clients there as you expand.
Agreed. And on that same note of transparency, do you, before you start to offer a new service, do you engage with current clients to ask them to kind of like test the waters to see if they're interested or get sort of client feedback before you go into a new area? Or is it like, hey, we're just going to launch and see what happens?
Yeah, totally. So something we often do is like, especially if we want to build a case study, right? We say, hey, we would love to do this with your account for a month free, right? Or like a lower rate for our time, and then build that case study. It's an easy way to upsell the client and say, hey, look what this did for your account and business. Do you want to work with us on that service at like a founder's price or whatnot? Or if anything, you have now a case study that you can use for new clients. Yeah.
I've heard you mention case study a few times now. So how many do you have? And tell me what that process looks like, because that's a great way to sell, right? Is through case studies with current clients. So walk me through that.
Yeah, so case studies is a big deal within our team. We're always working on case studies. I mean, we're a data-driven agency, right? And so I often lately have been saying, like, I feel like testimonials from clients is almost like a biased opinion, right? Of course, you're going to have testimonials from happy people and those type of things, but what does the data say? Because even if you have an unhappy client at a time, right, you may have still delivered great results. So like, I think case studies are the strongest form to sell and like show social proof. What we typically do is quarterly, we will update our case studies on things that we want to sell or like objections we have, right? Let's say, we want to sell a TikTok service. We need to now have case studies on TikTok. Or let's say, a lot of people want to know about follower growth and find that important. Let's build some case studies of that and what that looks like. Of course, results vary, right, from client to client. But it builds your social proof.
Yeah. And how many case studies would you say you have? Do you know?
I would at least like 20 solid ones, I would say. Yeah, like we do them all the time. Yeah. Because like, sometimes it's even if a new client comes in, they're in a certain industry or they have certain goals that I'm going to try and look and see if we have a case study so that they will know. Because you know how clients will be like, oh, do you have anyone in this industry?
Yes.
Or do you have experience with that? And sometimes it's kind of like, not really, not that it matters, right? But here's a case study that goes hand in hand with you that would be similar to your growth because you're from scratch or you're well established or you're a personal brand. So here's another personal brand we did.
How do clients respond to that? I'm curious. Are they always like, yes, absolutely? Or do you have to do a little bit of selling with the case studies too?
No, honestly, I feel like this case study do the hard selling for you, right? Especially when you build a personal brand. People have typically already followed me for a while. So they feel like they know you. I'm sure you have that with LinkedIn too. When people hop on a call with you, they already know what you're about. The only thing at that point is like going over the logistics, seeing if you're a good fit, right? Pricing and stuff like that. To see if they want to move forward. But I think the case studies will do the hard selling for you because, what else is there to say on results and expectations at that point?
Right. That's a great idea. And now I feel like I'm sorely lacking in the number of case studies I have. So I'm going to make myself a little note.
Yeah.
Case studies! Exclamation point, exclamation point. Okay.
We should really have a case study on what case studies do for agencies, and
Yeah.
honestly,
How
we
meta.
just said it.
Yes.
Yeah.
What strategies have you found most effective for marketing these new services to your existing clients, but also to new clients?
Yeah, so for existing clients, I think what we just talked about, the case studies, right? Building a case study and then selling it to them. There's no cost for them. And it's tempting for a client when they see the results of you doing it for free for a month to upsell
Yeah.
them. For new clients, it's just, repeat your message. I think is a big thing. Because honestly, still till this day, people wonder, oh, like, I didn't know you did that or did this. Because you need to repeat your message, sell your service, continuously talk about it. I think is really, really important. I mean, with selling in general, right?
Mm-hmm. And how do you, so like with the new clients, do you ever run advertising behind these new services or is it all organic?
Yeah, everything we do is organic. I believe you do paid advertising. It's something I've been thinking about looking into, even in the future. But everything we do in our agency is organic. Yeah.
Wow. So you can attribute all of your growth to 100%
Yeah.
organic tactics and strategies, which I think that's almost a case study in itself. Oh my gosh, look, now you've got me thinking case study.
That's funny.
And then walk us through your plan. Do you build out a business plan or a launch plan for new services?
Yeah, so launch plans we do actually pretty often, even for clients when they launch new services. Like, hey, how can we strategically do this? We had a really fun launch plan on a client where they actually happened to go viral during the launch, which was pretty crazy. But it shows that if you have a strategy behind it and you happen to go viral, which we don't control, right, then it can do really good things for your business, which ended up being an amazing case study. But yeah, so like launch strategy wise, yeah, we usually plan out like whether it's a month long or 4 to 6 weeks, what are we launching when, talking about what services. The same for like if I'm launching something for social media managers, and that's something I'm working on now on the launch plan there, to open up a membership again in the future.
Okay, back up. So you said two things there that I want to hit on: membership and selling this membership to other social media agencies, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay, tell me all the things about both, please.
Yeah, so like in the past, I've had a membership for social media managers, and there was a time where I was just at capacity and I needed a break from it, and I wanted to redo it at some point, but better, like offer more things in it and like give them my full attention and support so that I'm not drained and things like that. And so I'm going to relaunch that actually, with one of our brand partners, on Uscreen, where I will be providing pretty much it's like a paid Netflix where they can consume my content, they can go live with me once a month. And it's something I've been working on, but where I want to do a proper launch like we're talking about right now, right? Where I can really get it in front of the right people and make it a big deal, right? That's what launches are about at the end of the day. And yeah, so it should be around summer. Now I feel like I need to live up to that.
No, I'm just so curious because we've talked memberships before on the show, and there's like a tickle there in my brain about
Yeah.
memberships, but it's one of those things like we were talking about earlier that I'm a little bit scared of. I'm like, oh man, what if I put all this work and time into this thing and then no one signs up?
Oh, that's such a, yeah, everyone has that mindset, literally. It's so funny. That's a whole different conversation. That's how I felt with my first round. I think probably because I did it before, I don't have that feeling. I don't have super high expectations. Even, I do have an audience. I don't know, my expectations are just I'm trying to help people. They
Mm-hmm.
want to join, great. But even if just a few people join, that's really good too, because it builds as you go. And that's what I noticed the first time around, where it started off with 10 people, but it was so intimate. And as the group got bigger, it almost had its own challenges at that point. Yeah.
What about tools? What tools do you like to use for membership?
Yeah, so Uscreen is one I'm building out on right now. It's a membership website, plus it comes with an app as well, in the App Store, which is really, really fun. So I'm really excited to launch it in a more official way, right? And yeah, so they white label the app in the App Store for your membership. So
Oh,
yeah, I'm really excited about that.
very cool. On a past show, we talked about white labeling,
Oh,
and how agencies can white label their services for other agencies as a
yeah,
solution for revenue and new revenue. And you're kind of touching on that now. So it's like this little string is starting to
yeah.
appear that I'm pulling the thread on. And hopefully, all of you who've been watching and listening for a long time are also pulling the thread on.
Yeah, like there are actually quite a few tools that do that, which I think is like thinking in the now or thinking ahead. So another tool we use, a Cloud Campaign for social media
I
scheduling,
love Cloud
right?
Campaign.
And they white label too. It's so awesome to have it show your brand, your agency. I mean, as agency owners, that's what we want, right? Branded experience at that point. Yeah.
Yes, that's funny that you say that too, because on that white labeling episode, we also talked about white labeling through Cloud Campaign and how easy they
Awesome.
make it.
Yeah.
So that's another vote for Cloud Campaign.
Yeah.
How do you measure the success of new services that you've introduced? I would assume Instagram's your bread and butter,
Right.
and then you launch other things. And how do you know if you're succeeding? What key performance indicators do you look at? And have you ever decided like, hey, we tried it, we tested it, it didn't work, we're going to pull it off the table?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, one of the biggest indicators is like, having the recurring clients long term. We're looking for long term partnerships. So I've had in the past where we were like almost growing at all costs, which was costing us at that point. And I noticed that there was an influx in clients, but then they wouldn't be here for very long. And I'm like, okay, hold on, let's take a moment. What are we doing wrong? I'm not trying to have a bunch of people that then, leave after a couple months.
Yeah.
I'm looking for those long term relationships. So I think that is, for me, one big indicator. Of course, revenue is important, making sure I can sustain the people I hire and stuff like that. But for new services, I think client feedback, case studies we built to see, is this worth it? Or do we need to adjust it? Because, with some of these services, we're not necessarily the cheapest service out there. And I think in marketing in general, right, it goes from here to there, the price range. So it's like, you want to position yourself in the market to be attractive. But at the same time, it's like, know your value, right, and what you bring to the table.
That's an interesting point that you brought up and a good question for me to ask around pricing. When you are deciding to launch a new service and diversify, how do you look at pricing? Do you shop other agencies? Do you see what they're, pricing their services at? How do you decide what you're going to charge?
Yeah, so I think you need to look at your overall pricing, right? What are you charging for other services so that it doesn't feel very off?
Mhm.
And like looking a little bit at other agencies, but not too much at the same time, because you can fall in that rabbit hole of like, oh, I'm too expensive now, or I'm too cheap, or
Mhm.
you kind of need to gauge because everyone's client base is different and you attract a certain client with your price range too, right? And so I think looking at your current services and kind of making sure it's there. And then if you do offer it to current clients, give them a preferred rate, right? Give them like that founder rate so that you can upsell them while you take on new clients at the new rate.
Explain that to me a little bit, because I think that's a really smart strategy. So what you're saying is you're launching LinkedIn. You're obviously trying to attract new clients for this LinkedIn service. But while that's happening, you're going to your existing clients and you're seeing if they would be interested in this service. You mentioned the emails earlier. What else? Do you call on them? Do you mention it during meetings? Like, what's the tactical part of that strategy?
Yeah, honestly, like meetings is really where it's at, right? Speaking to people one on one and saying, hey, would you be open for us to manage this for you for a month? We're trying to build a case study and there's no cost for it for you. I mean, pretty much no one says no, right? Unless they really don't want to be on, let's say, TikTok or wherever. And then you need to make sure it's also something you can do. So, like, we do a lot of PR as well, but that is more long term, right? You can't just build a month case study pretty much. And so, but with social media management, you can show them, if they already have a certain social media profile, how much better you could do it, right? And then going back to them saying, hey, if you're interested, here are the results from the case studies we built based off that service. If this is something you want us to continue to do, we're happy to give you a discount on this new service because we're launching it, but you would get a preferred rate. And then, yeah, have them move forward, or, you have a great case study.
Okay, so I think I'm connecting the dots. You say, hey, Brooke, we've got this new LinkedIn service. We think you'd be a great candidate. For 1 month, we will do it for you for free while we are also, writing up a case study about the results that we prove for you. And then at the end of that month, assuming it goes well, you say, oh my gosh, Brooke, look at your amazing case study. Look at what we did. If you want to move forward with these services, they normally cost X, but since you're a preferred client, we're going to give them to you for Y.
Yeah.
So smart.
Okay. Right?
I love it. Yeah.
Hitting a home run.
So if you could talk to all the Brookes who are listening and watching, what, from your experience, are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned about diversifying your services? And what advice would you give other agency owners who are like, should I diversify? Should I stay in my lane? What should I do?
I think, in our field, it's important to stay creative. So for myself, I even noticed, and another reason I wanted to diversify is I start to get bored with just managing Instagram. I need to be more challenged, and it's okay not to have it all figured out. You don't need to be the best in every single field, right? Or every single platform or service, but taking that first step, is all you need to do. And it's also like it's not that you can't go back. Let's say you try it, it doesn't work. That's okay. You tried it. But give yourself a shot. Like, I think we all get imposter syndrome. Like, who am I to offer LinkedIn? Who am I to offer that? But there are other people out there with less experience than you doing the thing.
Yes, that's such great advice, because I feel like we all suffer at one point in time, most of us, with imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, how could I talk about Instagram when I only have, 1,700 followers? But like, Instagram's not where I live. It's LinkedIn. Exactly. It was Twitter, So I agree. We live in a world where there's a lot of vanity metrics, and sometimes it's easy or hard, depending on how you look at it, to get caught up into those metrics and comparing yourself to others. So I think that's fantastic advice. Last question for you. Tell everybody what you're working on, where they can find you. Instagram, I'm assuming, but where can they find you? How can they connect with you? All of the good things.
Yeah, so some of the things I'm working on, the social media manager membership, launching around summer, if I stick to it. We are doing a lot of PR work right now with services where we've really expanded. So that has been very interesting, with the overlap of social media and PR and how it suits one another. So that's an exciting project that we will be sharing a lot more about in case studies in the upcoming months. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. All the places.
All the places. Just look for Milu Peters. I found out it's Peters. It's the easiest last name ever.
Yeah. People are always easy. Like, how do you say it? Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Milu. You're inspiring. I love your story. I love your advice. And hopefully we'll get to have you back again soon.
Yeah, I loved our conversation. I feel like we could have gone on for hours and hours.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.